I have to know a few things of where you sit. Um, will you state on the record right now that trans women are women?
I've never been asked that before.
Alberta's making international news this week, not for our world-class environmental stewardship or our booming economy. No, we're getting international attention for the Maoist-style struggle session a female legislator was subject to by radical sex activists. Let's go back in time a little bit.
Will you say that on the record right now?
No, I want to have some time to think on that.
Okay, well, that's me. Have a great day. And I will be speaking out against this meeting because you are clearly not ready to have this.
Jennifer Johnson is the independent member of the legislature for Lacombe-Pinoka, one of the most conservative voting regions in the entire country. It's oil and gas, it's rodeo, it's church and ranching country. Jennifer Johnson is a first-time MLA who was kicked out of the United Conservative Party during her campaign, but she won her seat with about 70% of the vote anyway. Now, she was kicked out of the party for using clunky language to oppose the medical transition of children. She said, Alberta has a first-rate educational system, but what does it all matter if kids are just being medically transitioned? Here's what she said. It does not matter that we're in the top 3% in the world. Who cares if they got an 89% in chemistry 30? Who cares that they are entering post-secondary if they are chemically castrated? It's more than a teaspoon of poop in the cookie pouch. Now, trans activists have said that this means she was calling sexually confused minors feces, but I think we all understand what she means if we're being sincere. She said that being a place that has an education system which encourages the medical transition and damage of children in the name of tolerance is a blight on a successful education system that cannot be overlooked, and it undermines the good work of the system. And even though Premier Danielle Smith kicked Johnson out of the party during the campaign, the voters of Lacombe-Pinoka saw right through the hyperbolic rhetoric of the mainstream media and the activists and elected her handedly. I think to a large extent based on policy, Premier Danielle Smith doesn't disagree with what Jennifer Johnson was trying to say. She probably just disagrees with the way she said it, because Premier Smith came out and said that she was against the medical transition of children and the secrecy being fostered in the education system between activist teachers and sexually confused children, excluding parents entirely from the equation.
When it comes to classroom instruction on subject matter involving gender identity, sexual orientation, or human sexuality, we will be requiring parental notification and an opt-in requirement for each instance a teacher intends to give formal instruction on these subjects. Furthermore, all third-party resource materials or presentations related to gender identity, sexual orientation, or human sexuality in our K-12 school system will need to be pre-approved by the Ministry of Education to ensure the materials are age-appropriate. For a minor, age 15 and under, the government will require parental notification and consent for a school to alter the name or pronouns of a child. For 16 and 17-year-olds who choose to alter their name or pronouns, parents do not need to give consent, but they must be notified.
Now, the reason we're all talking about this again is because last week, the Premier said she was open to letting MLA Jennifer Johnson back into the United Conservative Caucus, but not after the legislature passes those new transgender policies this fall. And this all comes after a groundswell of pressure from party members to bring Johnson back to the government benches.
And when it comes to Jennifer, I went to Lacombe-Pinoka and she was very gracious and introduced me. I can tell you she is taking her job as MLA representative very seriously. She shows up in the legislature, she asks good questions, she participates in estimates, she debates bills, and she's doing the work of building confidence in the community and building some of those relationships in the community. We want to have the legislation around protecting children come forward, give her a chance to speak to it and put on the record what she really meant and what she really said and how she really feels, and to have her have that forum to do that. And then we'll gauge whether or not that has done enough to make the amends with her constituents at that point. But I think she doesn't want this fall debate to be about her comments during the election. I think she wants it to be about us passing policy. And we need to pass that policy. It's important to protect the kids. So let's get through the fall, and then ask me again when I come back here.
Now, it would seem that part of Jennifer Johnson's way back into the United Conservative Party, and thus the government benches, is to meet with Pride stakeholders and other members of the LGBTQ plus community. And what resulted was the aforementioned Maoist struggle session, wherein a choir of bizarre sex activist bullies attacked this woman for wrongthink. The next clip you're going to see is long, but I think you have to see it to fully understand why free speech billionaire Elon Musk and women's rights activist and author J.K. Rowling have weighed in on all of this. You're going to see a biological man who performs under the drag name Karla Marx, who also identifies as a woman, hectoring, abusing, harassing, browbeating, and tormenting Jennifer Johnson for wrongthink. Look at this.
I'm going to throw it over to Victoria now, and she'll just touch on a little bit more about that.
Hi, Jennifer. I really want to thank you for meeting with us today and taking the time to try to signal that this is more of a priority for you.
Absolutely. Delighted to meet with you all.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Before I would ever say, though, that this was a productive meeting and be counted to the list of contacts that you've reached out to in the queer community, I have to know a few things of where you sit. Will you state on the record right now that trans women are women?
I've never been asked that before.
Will you say that on the record right now?
No, I want to have some time to think on that.
Okay, well, that's me. Have a great day. And I will be speaking out against this meeting because you are clearly not ready to have this. So I'm not going to be added to the list of meetings that you are going to have with people where you say, well, I met this person and this person, because no. You can't say I've had these consultations and use that as justification for you to work your way back into caucus, which is why we know you're really here. This only happens. This meeting is only happening because you're on Twitter, in the Twitter sphere, and people are debating whether or not you're going to be led back into caucus, and Premier Smith is debating that. And so you need to do some PR work. And I'm not going to be your Band-Aid. I'm not going to be your pink washing unless you can tell me right now that you believe that I, as a trans woman, right now, right here, am a woman. Then we don't have a lot to work on here. You want to talk about listening to the community? If you can't start with that basic foundational principle that we are who we say we are in our bones, then I don't think we're on the same page for working forward. So I'll give you one last chance. Are trans women women? Will you say that on the record right now?
Victoria, we can disagree on things. And
Not on that.
still
Not on
be-
my identity. No. Not
And
on
I
that.
can still care
No.
about you, even if we disagree.
Wonderful. But I will be speaking out against this meeting 100% if you can't say that right now, because I'm not going to have you add my name to the list of meetings that you've had to show that you're, quote, doing the work, because you're not doing the work. The work is the inner work. You're learning the outer work. You're learning what you're allowed to say in public and what you're not, so you don't get in this situation again, because you got caught saying what you really thought. And you did think that. But you haven't shown that you've changed. Because if you can't respect us, then how can I work with you? If you don't believe that I am a woman sitting right here, right now, how on earth are you saying that you're working with me? What work have you done then if you can't start with, yes, Victoria, you are a woman?
Can we disagree and still respect each other?
No, goodbye.
But do you know who the media thinks are the real victims in that virtual re-education gulag we just all saw together? Oh, it's the sex activist bullies, of course, who couldn't get their pound of moral and intellectual flesh from Johnson. Let me leave you with this quote from George Orwell's iconic 1984, which has become a user manual for the left as opposed to a dire warning. Perhaps a lunatic was simply a minority of one. Being in a minority, even in a minority of one, did not make you mad. There was truth and there was untruth. And if you clung to the truth, even against the whole world, you were not mad. Ms. Johnson, you are not mad. For Rebel News, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. These same people who bully and hector the likes of Jennifer Johnson want access to your kids in the classroom to re-educate them as well, to take a stand against this. Please go to noclassroomgrooming.ca. www.sheilagundreid.com.